We've got some more viewer-submitted styles for you this week you can add into your Midjourney prompts, separated by a comma, to get some pretty cool images. Now, I want to thank everyone who submitted. We've got so many submissions that have actually broken this one up into 2 videos yet again. So starting with the first part, and we're going to release the other one in a couple of weeks. But the first one comes from Warwick Brown, talking about the Viewmaster toy from the 70s. And I thought this was actually pretty cool. So we've got Viewmaster here, and you can see how Midjourney's interpreted it. It's not quite exact, but it gives you an idea. We've got a woman's face. She's wearing a Viewmaster headset. Kind of looks a bit like a cheap VR headset, but like an old 70s style photo. And the Hulk, he's wearing some weird glasses that kind of look like it, but it's like he's being looked at through some kind of Viewmaster lens. And the Terminator, for some reason, has Viewmaster glasses on from the future, and again, has that old-fashioned look to it. And a samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji kind of just looks like it's being shot through an old lens or Viewmaster, really old-fashioned photography style again. And Darth Vader, his eyes are a bit messed up. That must be what they look like under the helmet. Again, for some reason, he has a Viewmaster on his helmet. And then we have Midjourney with Dave. So try the word noctilucent. It's a rare cloud phenomenon. I actually got a slightly different sort of result than expected, but still really cool. So you can see here from this image, you've kind of got this nice blue glowing effect. I move into the woman's face, and it's got some glowing elements on her face, which is an interesting look. But when I move on to the Incredible Hulk, a lot more of the images were like this, that dark sort of blue glow, and just a really nice looking image overall. Same for the Terminator, got a glowing sort of endoskeleton, so a pretty cool image and nice effect. Same with Pikachu, glowing with electricity. Very cool. I really like this image. I like the way it kind of has the electricity forming around him. Looks like a cool scene from a movie. And Mario looks like a glowing statue or a ghost of some sort even. I really like the effect and a little sort of like lines and sort of like waves it has coming out of it. And just quickly guys, this week I released my Midjourney Styles pack, over 1,000 Midjourney styles. Check out the link in the description for more information. Also, a request to bring in beauty products. So I thought I'd just quickly pop 2 in here because I got some interesting results. Beauty product photo. So obviously this is great for objects, but with our usual subjects like a woman's face, she looks like she's sort of got a lot of beauty sort of elements or like makeup on her. And it's more of a beauty style photo. But you move on to the Terminator, and it's similar, and it's got a woman's face, but with kind of like Terminator elements from the endoskeleton added to it, which I thought was an interesting mix. We move on to the Incredible Hulk, and he is selling his Hulk cream, and it's obviously not too good for his eyes, much like Darth Vader a few minutes ago. It's an interesting way that they sort of like popped that look on his face and then also having some beauty cream. It's a little bit of a meme, I think. Moving on to Darth Vader, he's also got he's showing up to the fair with his beauty cream, which is interesting considering no one can see any part of his skin, but an interesting photo overall. And Pikachu is a form of, I don't know, soap or perfume. I thought this is a cool way to sort of transform that character into a beauty product. And I also tried glamorous makeup. Now this had a very interesting effect also. Now, as you can see with the woman's face, she's wearing makeup and it's a nice, crisp, clean, almost commercial-like photo. But you move on to Mario, and there's actually makeup on a woman's face, and it's done this with most of these images. And I love the way the makeup of the moustache actually extends beyond her face, so that's a bit of an interesting touch. Move on to the Incredible Hulk. It is a woman painted in green, looking angry like the Hulk. And of course, Darth Vader. Somehow it kind of works. I don't get how it works, but it just does. It's the black, it's the helmet look, just wearing some Darth Vader-esque makeup. And a beautiful waterfall in nature. There's a waterfall in the background if you look hard, but otherwise it's just a woman with some very artistic and abstract makeup. I think that was also a very cool effect overall. And the Terminator, a woman with the Terminator sort of like skull painted onto her face with makeup. And it's just really cool the way in a lot of these images it's placed a woman's face with makeup into the scene and applied the subject into the makeup. Now we've got some more viewer recommendations here from Poet Zombie. As you can see, he's got them listed here. So let's jump straight in on because these are all pretty cool. Alien Rococo, or Rococo, I don't know how that's pronounced. You can see the alien, kind of like the H.R. Geiger style alien. But we had the woman's face, and we get something a little bit different. I thought this was a very interesting effect where it had sort of like these classical lines and bits and pieces to it. it actually does give it that old-fashioned look, like something from a few hundred years ago. You move on to Darth Vader, and he is dressed in a more formal way from, back in the past, and it's a nice blend of science fiction and sort of like history. And of course, Pikachu looking very different, ready to go off to the ball with her prince, if Pikachu is actually a woman, and covered in roses. It's a very different effect than what I expected. And with Mario, he instead looks like he has an alien popping out of his neck. Completely different, but it's kind of like swaying between that other theme and the alien theme pretty successfully. And of course, the Terminator, it's like a beauty shot of the endoskeleton. So something a bit different, that classical style frame in the background. Very interesting effect overall. And the beautiful waterfall nature this is just a cool photo. I think it sort of matched the color from the alien side of things, just to sort of have this sort of impact. And Neon Punk, I thought this was a pretty cool phrase and got some interesting results also. So a woman's face, Neon Punk, the way it's added the neon lighting, it's just a very pleasing use of color. And the Incredible Hulk has an almost synthwave look to it, and just like the weird sort of armbands on him. I really just thought it was an interesting image of the Hulk overall, with that big sun-looking image in the background, the circle. And Mario glowing. This I thought was really cool. It's like he's powered up on some kind of cyberpunk neon light magic, and he's about to go off, fighting Bowser. And Pikachu dressed in his cool jacket, some neon glow coming from him, another really cool effect. And the beautiful waterfall in nature, the sun glow and the use of the pink and oranges coming from that light and then coming out to the blue in those darker areas. An awesome use of color, those neon colors, to create a very unique sort of natural scene. In the futuristic car, once again, it's in a neon sort of light lit sort of part of the city. Very, very interesting image. It doesn't have as much of an impact or as unique of an impact, but it is a very cool image of a futuristic car. In the modern family home, I thought this was really cool. Kind of gives me some Star Trek vibes, but with that added sense of neon lighting to give it a more modern feel. In the Terminator, just looks pretty cool, like he's glowing from the inside of the skull, and it's just coming out of the eyes, teeth, and jaw. Interesting sort of addition to this image also. Industrial hallucination, a little bit different again. We move on to the Terminator, and there's like some industrial elements thrown into this image. Just a little bit different, and that cartoon style for this image turned out pretty well. Incredible Hulk, it's almost like, if you look up, there's a lot of industrial elements, and there's kind of like a Hulk body just kind of mixed in there, like the Hulk is having some kind of weird dream or psychotic episode. And Mario, once again, cartoony look, industrial elements in the background, and he looks like he's about to go to work in a factory. Now, the modern family home has a very industrial look to the walls and the color. This is although it looks had that rusty sort of look, doesn't look like it's actually rusty. It looks very modern and different, something that's pretty cool. And the futuristic car just looks like it's parked in some kind of industrial environment in the middle of the city at nighttime, and just a cool futuristic image. And Pikachu looks like an old, worn-out Pikachu statue or robot that's been deactivated and left to rust inside of a factory. Gothic constructivism. Now, this was also an interesting phrase, as you can see by the look on the woman's face, the way it's broken it up into certain shapes. Very different, and a cool impact on that image. And Darth Vader. I love the way it's added that background to his image, like he's posing for a photo, and it's been framed up nicely. And just gives it a different look. And the Incredible Hulk, I thought this was cool. Something about the Incredible Hulk with large bright circles behind him seems to be a theme this week. But the overall look of this image, I just thought was interesting. While there is somewhat of a consistent theme, I still can't quite pick it yet. But when we get to the beautiful waterfall in nature, the way it's added that building in there, very cool impact. And the stairs, kind of wonky. I think I see like where it has the Gothic constructivism, it's kind of like that construction in that Gothic style. A nice addition to this image. And the Terminator, he is again very similar to the industrial hallucination, except this time more of a photo, like an old photo look. We've got a bit of a sepia look with the red glow added to it, with the construction going on in the background. Peter Saville design is a very more simplistic sort of style of design, but not quite as simple as this. With the woman's face, it's kind of got those nice simple shapes and waves added, which creates something very artistic and unique. You move on to the Hulk, it's actually kind of blanded up his appearance. He doesn't seem as angry as usual, and he doesn't seem as out there as usual. And some of the images in this have that, where it's normalized some of the proportions. When you move on to the Terminator, he still has that Terminator look, but the proportions are a little bit like he's a bit thinner. I'm not quite sure what it is there, but the simple red and blue, it just does a really good job with the color and simplifying the image overall. In Mario, he's just been simplified down to almost like a low poly 2D style illustration, but still pretty cool. In the futuristic car, very simple, looks better than the Cybertruck, I think, but it has that same really simple look to it that I don't think it's a great looking car, but it is a great looking image. And Darth Vader has the pieces of color added to him just to add that look from the first image we saw, and has a nice impact on that as well for something a little bit different. It's psychedelic steampunk. Now, a lot of these phrases mixed with like sort of steampunk seem to work pretty well. Psychedelic steampunk, the woman's face, all these elements, the psychedelic elements with hints of steampunk mixed in there is pretty cool. When you move on to Hulk, we've got a similar effect, but in a cartoony way, and he looks like he's just hooked up to some machinery in a way that he's kind of integrated into it. And Darth Vader, it looks like he's, with the way it has an eye on one side and a pattern or something on the other, he kind of looks like he's gone a bit off into the mystical realm, or I don't know what it is. It looks a bit funny, a bit colourful, and just a bit weird, to be honest. And the beautiful waterfall. I love the use of colours it's added, and this has that real shimmery sort of like multiple, kind of like almost iridescent style colour to it. All the little speckles of light that are appearing and the rainbows. It's just really done a good job with this image. And Pikachu, it's added some sort of psychedelic steampunky elements to the background and changed his proportions a bit to make it look a bit interesting. The big eyes I thought was an interesting sort of twist on Pikachu, but overall just a really cool image. By Virgil Finlay, or Virgil Finlay, I don't know how that's pronounced, but you can see here that black and white style, kind of gothic look applied to the woman's face. The angle of the face, very similar to the last image, the line work, little bits of noise added into the shading, a very interesting impact and a cool art style. And you see the same with the Hulk. The angle is different, but you got that black and white style, kind of like that speckly halftone look as well, but comic book style illustration, the way it's sort of drawn all the detail into the face. Moving on to Darth Vader, again, nice black and white image, very nice style added to it overall, and very well sort of drawn reflections on the boots and things like that. And the Terminator, the layout is what gets a lot of these images too. With this one, the massive skull in the background and the person walking in front, very different interpretation for the Terminator, and little skulls throughout the image. If you look hard, you can kind of just see them planted here and there. And the modern family home, I thought was a nice mix of an actual modern family home with the art style, and then the big face planted underneath and the little people around. Very much a trip, if that makes sense. Very different, and I really like the way it sort of takes black and white images and adds a bit of age or a bit of texture to it as well. And a futuristic car zooming along some kind of space highway, much like with the video I did last week, something you can probably expect to see in the next Fast and Furious movie. Thought I'd use that joke again. And now we have Alpha Mercury talking about using flawless hallucinations to get some imaginative artworks. So I had a bit of a play with that to see what we can come up with. So we have flawless hallucinations, and the woman's face, it's kind of got a weird, almost painted style, but also very unique kind of ink running sort of effect. I really like the way it's done that with the shadow. And Darth Vader looks like he's inside some kind of ethereal sort of diamond type light effect. Very different again. Now Mario, looking completely different. We can see the teeth sticking out of the jaw, a little Mario head sticking out of his hat, and other elements sticking out of him. This was definitely not what I expected, but definitely has a nice hallucination type of theme added to it. Very different. Very, very different indeed. And the Hulk, his skin's kind of like peeling, a little bit strange. At first I didn't notice it, but yeah, the skin peeling, and you can see kind of like what's smooth on the top becomes rough underneath, and a little bit of a concerning look in that eye. beautiful waterfall in nature. It has very little waterfall, but a lot of light. An interesting sort of way it's transformed the layout of what the image usually turns out like. The Terminator, this looks like the last thing you saw before you opened your eyes after having a nightmare. Very mean and scary in a hallucination kind of like theme. But that's the styles for today, guys. And next week I have a back with another styles video, but also part 2 of the viewer styles will be the week after. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please consider giving the video a like if you liked it. And don't forget to check out my playlist of all the other style videos we have. So thanks for watching the video, guys, and hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.